Okay, we've got to talk about alien underground bases. This is a juicy one, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, this video is inspired by the recent episode of the Y-Files where he talks about remote viewing underground alien bases. And this is largely a review of that episode and a commentary on the implications of the information revealed in that episode. So what does he discuss in the episode where he starts off talking about Pat Price, the famous remote viewer, who was conscripted by the CIA to, among other things, spy on alien underground bases. And he did. He saw them very clearly. He identified 4 bases worldwide. And he actually passed away under suspicious circumstances shortly thereafter. It seems like he was probably assassinated. By who is unclear, because the CIA got other remote viewers to remote view these bases after him, and they weren't assassinated. So, one theory floated by the Y-Files is that it was, the Soviets that did that because he was spying on them. And that could have been, but he also says that, hey, that could have been CIA disinformation. So who knows about the truth of Pat Price's death or murder, but he does seem to have remote viewed these bases, as did many other remote viewers after him, seeing these 4 distinct bases. Joseph McConnell was one of the remote viewers that did this, also a very well-known remote viewer who's still alive and still doing interviews, and a really good listen if you ever get a chance to listen to a Joseph McConnell interview. He was on the ground floor of a lot of this stuff, Project Stargate and all that kind of stuff. So, so what does all this mean? What are the implications if this information is true? And was the Y-Files able to debunk it? Because he did spend a little time, as he always does at the end of a show, debunking or attempting to debunk what he has just shown us. Basically, he says if you believe in ESP, then you're going to believe this, and if you don't, you don't. He then kind of goes on a little rant debunking the aviary and, saying that, they may have been spreading disinformation, and, they well could have been. But then he goes even further to discredit Lou Elizondo and David Grush. And, that was a little too much in my opinion. I don't know if he has really researched any of that very heavily. I don't get the impression he has. Otherwise, I think he may have come to a different conclusion. I often disagree with the Y-Files and his ultimate conclusions, and sometimes I see some flaws in his research. And he did a recent episode on near-death experiences, talking about his debunk of near-death experiences. One of the things that he says is that it could be hallucination caused by the dying brain. Well, that's at odds with the facts of near-death experiences, because it's not a dying brain that we're dealing with. It's a dead brain. The heart has stopped. The brain is dead. These individuals undergoing these experiences are brain dead when this is happening. So it is not an hallucination caused by a dying brain. Also, there are many ways to corroborate these events as genuine out-of-body experiences. But this isn't a dissection of that particular video, but an illustration of some of the things, the flaws that I find in his debunks. But either way, he doesn't debunk this series of remote viewings and this information coming from these remote viewings. So let's go over that information. Well, for one, there is a massive underground base staffed with aliens and also humans, seemingly U.S. Military people and officials at Mount Adams. And various other places around the world, 3 other places. I believe one is in Australia. There also seems to be some undersea structures and facilities as well. And they may all be forming some sort of network. So the implications of that are that, possibly the CIA didn't know about it. they were getting remote viewers to spy on these things because they wanted information about them. Were they spying on a different branch of the government? You know, the Army, the Air Force, the, NSA, DARPA, we don't know what military personnel and what officials were working with these beings in these places. But could it have been a different part of the CIA? The CIA is a vast organization. Maybe the remote viewing people weren't part of that other stuff. And I think that's entirely likely. Either way, it seems like the UFO control group has been working with the beings for a long time at a very deep level. And I think there are levels and levels and levels to that interaction. There's just the surface stuff, the, UFO crash retrievals and reverse engineering, that sort of thing. Then I think that's fairly surface level. Then there's the deeper stuff, literally and figuratively, where you get into the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, and also these, mountains and these giant places where these other facilities are that seem very robust operations that are tied into some sort of alien agenda or plan. What is that plan? Well, we actually do get a glimpse of that, and AJ does talk about that in the video. He says that the remote viewers were finding that these 4 main facilities seems like they may have been harnessing energy from the Earth and directing it to a permanent alien satellite around the planet. The satellite is ancient and in a fixed position. The satellite then beams that energy somewhere else, location unknown. So what the hell? Are aliens mining energy from the Earth and then sending it somewhere? What sort of energy could they be mining? Is it, chi or vril or prana or some esoteric energy? Or is it, some nuts and bolts kind of energy, if I can use that phrase? Is it, is it electricity or something like that? Nuclear forces. I can say that word. What are they, what sort of energy could they be tapping into? And where are they sending it? Are they like miners that go around to different planets mining their energy? Are they vampires or leeches that come and drain a planet of its energy? The remote viewers didn't have any information on that, unfortunately. If you've run across anything, please let me know, because I'm dying to find out what this could all mean. There's also the possibility that they are being shown things that aren't true. I do believe that's probably a possibility, right? That beings and maybe even some remote viewers have the ability to mask something from prying eyes, right? Because, a lot of the beings surely know about remote viewing and probably practice it and have these abilities, and they may have safeguards in place to prevent a remote viewer from seeing anything they don't want them to see. So could they put false images into somebody's mind and get them to see something that they want them to see rather than what is really there? They're very possible, but then in that case, why would they allow them to see alien bases, right? Why would they want them to see alien bases and not something else? Could there be something else in those locations they are trying to hide? I'm inclined to think they were actually seeing something real. There may have been a filter or a mask put on it, and they may have been getting some false information mixed in with that to disguise the true nature of those facilities. But, who knows? Maybe they were seeing exactly what was there. But apparently there was a good number of remote viewers, many of them probably a very high caliber, especially Joseph McGonigal and Pat Price, who were viewing these alien underground bases. So I'm inclined to think what they were saying was real, more or less, although I do allow room for some disinformation put in there intentionally by the beings or even other remote viewers. One of these psychics makes contact with one of the beings and asks them questions, various questions, and the responses that he is getting are that, the aliens are doing their thing and they just kind of view humans as other animals on this planet, and they don't take much interest in us except for a few scientists among them that are interested in various exotic species or local fauna and flora. However, if that's true, then there is actually quite a bit of scientific interest in us, because the alien abduction phenomenon is, to the best information that I've been able to see, pretty vast and overwhelming. The best numbers we have on that are the Roper poll conducted in the 90s by John Mack, Bud Hopkins, and David Jacobs, with some additional information supplied by David Jacobs. So the numbers are anywhere between 2 and 5% of the world populace are abductees of the beings. That's hundreds of millions of people. And these are most often continual abductions every week, every month, every year throughout the contactees' lives. And now, I don't mean to put fear out there. According to the Edgar Mitchell Foundation, 80% of longtime abductees have a favorable view of their experiences. So I'm not putting fear out there about this particular phenomenon, but it does, according to our best available information, it is a widespread, massive phenomenon that the beings have been able to keep secret, despite how massive and robust the alien abduction phenomenon seems to be. They wipe people's minds. They make their ships invisible. They can, manipulate even reality, possibly. So, yeah. So the abduction phenomenon is big. From my, best available information, and I would love to see some corroboration or debunking of that. Either way, and if you can find it, please let me know. But so what the beings were telling that remote viewer about not being interested in humanity, if that's their level of not interested, I'd be really alarmed if they were interested. Okay, so let's review. All right, we've got at least 4 massive facilities. I think they're all located in mountains, but correct me if I'm wrong. Around the world, in different parts of the world, where aliens and humans are working together on some project, possibly harnessing energy from the Earth, siphoning it off, and sending it somewhere. Could that be for a good cause? Maybe the world has too much energy and it would explode if they didn't, take some of this energy away. Or are they here to harvest something that would be beneficial for the Earth to have, and that they may actually be doing harm to the planet and us by removing this energy? Or is that part of it disinformation? Or are the beings putting that false information in the remote viewer's head to disguise the true nature of that activity, which could be alien abductions? We just don't know. We do know that the beings and humans often work together during abductions. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was the same group that is in places like Mount Adams with the beings. That might also be the same group that was aboard the giant UFO with Terry Lovelace, the veteran who Lou Elizondo called credible, who was taken aboard with his buddy a giant UFO that was bigger on the inside than on the outside. And it was already pretty big on the outside. And he was abducted, and he was in a place where he could see U.S. service people, I believe they were Air Force, again, correct me if I'm wrong, working side by side with the beings. So possibly going off-world, we don't know. If there are agents of the control group on giant UFOs, I would assume at some point they do go off-world. At any rate, it could very well be these guys that are at places like Mount Adams. So that's kind of where my mind goes. That's the deeper level UFO control group type of stuff. That's the DUMBs. That's the deep underground military bases and their deep, heavy interactions with the beings. So that's never going to come out, not in the near future with this disclosure process. That's the stuff that really needs to come out, though, because clearly that's the important part. If we're making deals with aliens, other dimensionals, whatever we're doing with, and they are, doing stuff that could affect large numbers of people, that's something that large numbers of people need to be part of discussing in agreeing with or disagreeing with. But we're going to have to start slower than that, unfortunately. We're going to be lucky to get the surface level stuff, beginning with UFO crash retrievals in reverse engineering. And that is very important. Once we have that, once we have some biologics on display and being studied by mainstream science, once we get this accepted globally, among the mainstream, that this UFO presence is a reality, then in the future we can get to this deeper stuff. But clearly there is a lot going on that could be of vital importance that the public needs to be a part of. At least that's my take. Let me know your take in the comments below, and go check out that episode of the Y-Files. It's a banger. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button. Join me on social media, all that kind of good stuff. T-shirts below. Become a channel member to support the channel. That'd be great. And I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.